That's Ted's fault. All right. So you're supposed to remind me, Ted. I know you're bad. All right. So I've been in business for 14 years. And when I relocated from Arizona to Northern Virginia in 2012, I had the opportunity to sign up with a company called Boomtown. Now, Boomtown is a lead generation company that markets themselves as a CRM tool or a database, but basically their job is generating leads. In an area, I run an ad, they circulate it, I capture leads from that. And at a time, that was a good business model for some people. So I was excited to get in on that and do that. However, here's where I failed. Okay. We were running leads, we were generating leads around Northern Virginia, but to me, I didn't call them good leads, right? They were outside my service area. They were looky-loos. They weren't buy nows. Like I expected a lot more. And when they did communicate with me, reach out, I wasn't prepared to respond appropriately. You will hear over time that if you don't respond in the first 1 to 3 minutes, by the time it gets to 5, they've moved on. It's hard to capture. You have to be able to respond to people in an appropriate fashion and connect with them right away, or at least get something out to them right away. I wasn't prepared to do that. I was a single agent, lead generating internally and externally. And these cold leads that I was trying to build my pipeline with, they're hard. They take time. So I blame the system. But the systems I should have blamed was actually me because my follow-ups were poor. So what I'm telling you is this. While Facebook leads will get you leads, before you start doing those leads, even though they're much cheaper than the $2,000 a month I was paying for Boomtown, you don't spend nearly that, a fraction of that on Facebook right now. I don't care if you spend $10 to $100 a month. I ask you this, what are you going to do when you get a lead? Because it's not if, it's when. Are you prepared to follow up with that person? And how diligently are you prepared to follow up with that person? Do you have a system? Have you talked to your PC coach about this, right? Have you talked to your mentor, whoever it is that you're working with in your market center? What is your system? Because if you're spending that $10 or $100, you have to follow up. And the average is 6 calls. Are you prepared to make 6 calls? The average is 12 to 18 months because that Facebook lead is going to do something. Are you willing to commit to working to earn their business over the next 12 to 18 months? That's up to you. Right. So I try to be real with you guys and let you know that this is an element of what's going to happen. This is a factor of doing business. However, as a new agent, this should not be your primary area of focus for business. If you put all of your dice in cold leads, you're going to go broke and you're going to find yourself out of the business. Real estate is a relationship business. So we joke around, right? Our football friends, we call this a contact sport. Right? It's a little play on words for you, right? You have to pick up the phone. You have to be in relationship with somebody. Lead generation is necessary to add, but you got to start with your core. It goes back to contacts and systematizing your database in the beginning. You guys kind of get, go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, quick question. So on this, what I'm really interested in, so I'm doing the contacts with my sphere. I'm inviting them to the events. I'm doing the touches. How, because I think you touched on retargeting. So for me, that's what more so than like an actual trying to get cold leads. Is there an opportunity for this to retarget so your sphere is seeing these real estate related posts and it's going directly to, because my understanding is they'll see that more in that format than they would from just the normal posts I do on Facebook?
Typically, yes, that is true. We're working on our algorithms on the side to allow us to do retargeting. Right now, the retargeting is not where we want it to be, but it will be. And for those of you not sure what retargeting is, we'll jump into what we're talking about is if I'm friends with Jeff on Facebook and I run a Facebook ad and I want Jeff to be part of my target audience, Facebook will see how we're connected. I run my ad and I could tell that Jeff is part of that audience. So Jeff would see my ad. Those control metrics are not there right now, but that is something we are working on directly with Facebook. You'll see a retargeting option, but I can tell you that while that's there for future. That's not necessarily there as a true functionality right now. Sound good, Jeff?
Awesome. Yeah, good answer. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get jumped in today. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Screen 2. Everybody see my slides okay? All right. Campaigns. So a couple things you have to do right off the get. So on day one, I told you there are things you're going to need, right? A Facebook business page is something you have to have. Okay. Just having a Facebook personal account does not allow you to run advertising. You have to have a business account to run ads. Okay. You can't do pay-per-click advertising through a personal page. You have to have a personal page to authenticate your business page, which means you're the owner of that, but you have to connect the business page. It's step 2 to run an ad. So part of that is connecting those pages on setup. So we'll walk through that here in a quick second. And you will actually connect your personal page, but through that command and Facebook will see your business page. That's just how the processes work. Your email needs to be set up through command reply email in order to use email campaigns. We set that up when we talked about smart plans, but I'll show you that again. Your marketing profile should be complete. So it's pulling all appropriate marketing materials across, like we talked about, right? And then you do have to have a credit card on file. Because here's what happens. So those other companies that do pay-per-click advertising, you've heard of AdWorks, or Google Ads, or Boomtown, or any of those other platforms, Zillow, that's how Zillow made all their money, was selling agents leads. You're paying them for lead generation, and it's a percentage of however your spend was going to be. But because KW does not charge you, and I'm going to make this very clear, KW does not take one nickel, not one nickel. They don't earn a dime, a penny, a red cent on any of the advertising you do. It's just a pass-through conduit. So if you say, hey, I need to spend $50 on an ad over the next 5 days, you're going to pay for it. It's going to be $50 through command, and that $50 is going to go directly to Facebook, and it's gone. There's no KW. It's not saying in an escrow account for you. It's not chipping away at it. And if you don't use the full 50, say you stop the ad at $40, so there's $10 left, there's a $10 credit that'll go to the next ad that you run. Right. There's no refund back from KW because we've already given the money directly to Facebook. So I just want to be clear that we're not handling your money. We're just passing it through. Sound good? I think that's important to understand. We're going to jump into the dashboard here. So let me escape here. Let's go into campaigns. So first thing I want to do inside of command, is everybody logged in? Day 7, everybody should be ready to go at this point, right? So from command, I want you to go in the upper right-hand side under the drop down, okay, under your name. I want you to go to settings. Okay, click on settings. And when you get the settings, you're going to see your settings page. As you scroll down, you're going to see 2 Facebook connectors. One is post scheduling and one is an ads manager. You need to connect them both. And we're going to talk about the differences here in a minute. But like I say, when you click connect or manage, it's going to ask you to log into your Facebook account. So you need to know your Facebook login credentials to make this work, right? You'll connect. I'm already connected. And once you connect, it'll see the pages that you are the admin or owner of, right? Some of you, I have multiple Facebook business pages. So it would see all those when I connect. But right now, we just want to make sure your account is connected. So make sure you connect both. So if you haven't done that already, please do so now.
And this is connecting to your Facebook business profile, correct? Not your
Well, it's actually going to connect to your Facebook personal page, but through your personal page, it will see your business profile.
Okay. Would you suggest making a business profile first before connecting?
You have to, well, it won't connect otherwise.
Okay.
It won't, if you don't have a business page,
Got it.
you won't be able to do much.
Got it.
So you'll make sure, so post scheduling will allow me to post directly to my business page, okay, which there's no charge for that. That's free. I can post an ad directly to my business page from command. I can schedule it. I can post it now. I can set it for next week, whatever that looks like. Ads manager is that lead generation. And a lot of people get confused between the two. When you run an ad, it's an ad. So you won't see it on your business page. It will only show up on the audience's page. It's pay-per-click advertising. So those are the 2 different things. You're not boosting a post, you're running an ad. So that's an understanding difference. Now you can also do the same things for Twitter and Google AdWords, which I don't do right now, but if you wanted to and you had these accounts, you can connect those as well. And you can run ads on those platforms too. Now, the one thing you don't see on this list is a company called Instagram. Who has an Instagram account? Okay. Who runs Instagram? You own it? Facebook owns it if I last checked.
Yes.
Okay.
Facebook does, yeah.
Yeah. So while Facebook owns Instagram, there is no Instagram connector here. But when you go to run a Facebook ad, it'll ask you if you would like to place ads to the Instagram page. Just so you know.
So I just tried to connect my well, I believe I did it, but it's not indicating on my screen that it's been connected. It still says not connected. Does it take a little while to
It should
to
connect right
register?
away. If you had the right login and password, you could log out and log back in, but it should connect right away.
Okay.
All right.
So if you have an Instagram business account, you can link it to your Facebook business page.
Correct. I'm just saying that here, there is not a direct Instagram connector. It will connect through Facebook.
So if they're linked and you're posting, okay, sorry, I was confused. Never mind.
Yeah, once we get to running an ad, it's going to ask you, because it's going to recognize you have that Instagram connection. Would you like to run it there too?
Yes, that's where I was getting at. Okay.
Yeah, it's just not on the settings page. All right, so those are the settings. We covered that you need to have your email set up, which is also here at the bottom of this page, right? We talked about that yesterday. So make sure your command email is configured. And also remember over here under connect settings that your marketing profile is complete, which, at day 7, we've covered that a lot. So you guys should be ready to go there. Okay, yes, Ted, Meta, you're right. But still Facebook as far as I'm concerned, funny guy. All right, so let's come back here on the left-hand side and let's click on the campaigns button. That's the megaphone.
I have a quick question.
Oh, go ahead, Tiffany.
Hey, so what's the difference between the command email and my KW email that's linked to Google, Gmail?
Good question. When you run an email from command or send an email from command, in order for it to track it, okay, there has to be a unique email address. Our email platform is KW-wise is a Gmail. So when you have a free Gmail account. However, when you run an email from command, it's not actually sending from your Gmail account. It's actually running from an account that would be called agent name, then a number, which is your KW ID at mail.kw.com. Now that email address is not something you would ever actually give to anybody or share with anybody, but it's what's generated from the system for tracking purposes. And when they respond to that email, and this is why it's important to have this set up under settings, they would actually respond to your Gmail account.
Okay, so it'll still, even though it was sent from the command email, it'll still come to my Gmail when they reply.
When they reply, right? And that's why it's important here under your settings that this command email is connected, because under manage, you'll see where you get to choose your reply to email address.
Got it. Okay.
Good question.
Right.
Did you follow me there?
Say that again.
You understand the difference?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of them is the one that is sent from, and then even when they reply, it doesn't go to that email. It'll go to my KW email.
That's correct. Now, when I use my day-to-day email, right? If I'm in Gmail, this KW email will send from David Donaldson at kw.com, right? And the nice thing is in command, and I didn't really show you this, but there's a Gmail connector right here where you want to make sure your KW Gmail is connected to.
That's the one I have connected.
Yeah, make sure your Gmail is connected here, log in, because what will happen is that when you email them from Gmail, okay, that email will also register inside a command that you sent them an email.
Okay.
So it'll track both. But it
All right.
cannot auto send. When I send an automated email from a smart plan or an email, it can't come from my Gmail account. There's no way to make that work.
Okay. It'll come from the command one. Okay.
But they'll still see your name. It'll say David Donaldson, but behind David Donaldson will be a different email address. They just don't pick up on it.
I just found one online.
That's what I was going to think.
Hey, David, we were having a conversation yesterday about open rates. Do you believe that through command, have they worked out some settings to maybe get a higher open rate versus, less going into spam versus if we were sending an email directly ourselves?
That has a lot to do with the email service that they're using, right? How things are seen to where they send, you're sending it from command to them. Remember, you're not sending, it's not going out as like a bulk email. So it doesn't look that way on the receiving side of things. Like when I send an email, it's going to 30 different individuals. It's not going out with a block email where I'm emailing 30 people. So it doesn't look that way as spamming. So you shouldn't end up that way. However, depending on how they have their filters set up, it could pick up as go to a redirect, and we cannot control that. But we are rolling out some metrics on the back end where you're going to see, did they open it? Did it bounce? Did they unsubscribe from you? You're going to see some of those things here very shortly. And we'll look at some of those metrics here in the back end of command. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into campaigns. Now on the command dashboard for campaigns, you're going to see dashboard, paid ads, emails, direct mail, and social posts. Okay, so I'm going to talk today about paid ads and social posts and emails. I won't get into direct mail. I just won't have time today. Cool thing to know that I really like, and I always like to lead off with, are quick posts, right? A lot of times people don't know what to say. So command provides some posts for you in what are called quick posts. And they're right here on the page. They're either here on your dashboard, you see quick posts, where KW is recommending, and when you click shuffle, you'll see different posts that you could put out on your business page, okay? Or if I'm in social post, right, I'll also see it here. Social post is the one that allows me to add posts directly to my business page. I can schedule them or I can post them immediately, okay? I can simply hit create campaign if I'm going to create something from scratch. And in this instance, you'll see that I actually published a post this morning. I'm going to show you how to do this, that I scheduled to go out. So if I click on this quick post, or I click on any one of these quick posts, which is what I want you to do, okay? Choose one of these quick posts. Let's just click this one, okay? Social post. Actually, I'm going to come back out here. Sorry. I like doing it from my dashboard. See this little share button here? Everybody see that? Share means post it directly now. Everybody see this here? A little share arrow. I'm just going to go ahead and throw this post up here. It was a different one that I ran. Oh, it's gone because I reran it. So click the share button. And what's going to happen is your poster, your creator, is going to open up. So what's on the left is what you can edit. And what is on the right is what will actually show up on the page. Okay. So what you're seeing here is that it's connecting. It's recognizing my business page. This is where it's going to go, right? David Donaldson. Here's what's the picture's going to look like. Here's the text that's going to go out. This is what the ad is going to look like. It's just an announcement, right? Now, on the left-hand side, you see all the context. Now, in a quick post, the whole idea of a quick post is that you don't need to create anything. So the marketing department has developed these for you to use. You can certainly edit them if you choose, or you can just post them. Now, remember what we talked about yesterday: inspect and verify. Inspect what you expect. So make sure it makes sense for your area. Maybe you need to make a quick tweak. Maybe it's okay to run it as is. You'll notice that there are emojis in here. Here's what we know. People like emojis. So there's a little smiling face here where you can also add more emojis if you like. When you're creating posts, use emojis. Okay, get over it if you don't like emojis, because the general public likes them and they create engagement, and more people will utilize and engage with your posts with emojis than the posts that don't have emojis. That statistic comes directly from Facebook. So incorporate emojis. Now there's balance to that, right? And I can't tell you which is which. 0 or 1 might be too little. 15 or 20 is probably too much. So you're going to have to come up with a little balance. I know some people on this call, like Vicky, they just talk through emojis and you kind of have to try to decipher what she's saying.
So David, would an example be like, okay, replace the word love with, it says I'd love to talk to you, replace the word love with the heart emoji?
You could do that, or like here, we've got trophy full of gold and they've got the trophy and the gold medal. You can replace it or do both. just like that. Yeah, so sometimes emojis are a replacement of words. Sometimes they're next to the words because, you know, again, you have to think about how it's being deciphered. Most people are kind of used to that to these days, but some people do both just so they don't leave anything out. So they'd say love and put a heart, or just replace love for a heart. Now, in a quick post, the picture is already there for you. I don't necessarily recommend that you add anything else to it because it's a quick post. When you build a custom ad and we're doing listings, you're going to be able to put multiple pictures in here. But in a quick post, I'm just going to let it lie the way that they created it. I'm not adding anything else. That's me. Okay. You'll see my logo shows up. I can pick where I want that positioning to go. And then below, I have the time. When do I want this to publish? I can pick a time through a calendar and a date and a time. Then it'll show up on my account. Okay. Or I can click publish immediately. And I can tell which pages to show up on. Remember, I told you I had multiple business pages, right? And for you, you may just have one. But in this case, I chose my realtor page. So let me just show you. So I already sent it. So if I click publish, this post would show up on my page. But I already published it just so you can see it. And there it is. Same post that I ran the other day. And they come up pretty quickly. Not always instantaneously, but usually pretty quickly. And when I'm streaming, it's not always as quick as I want it to, because that's just how life goes for me. All right, here we go. Here's the one I actually ran this morning. See, 32 minutes ago, I published this. So that would go right on my Facebook business page. Doesn't cost me anything. It's free. It's a way to engage with the people that are following my business page and just put fresh content out there on a regular basis. And it's nice because KW is creating these things for you. So you don't have to overwhelm yourself like I should be posting something every day, which you should. However, I don't always have to come up with the content, which is what most people struggle with. Any questions on the quick posting? You like that? It's pretty simple to do. It's easy. The content is readily available to you. You can always come, like I said, on your dashboard. You can see them. They're there. And under social posts, if you could actually build out. So if you guys keep on the lookout for Outfront magazines, which KW puts out for us, and I know some of our market center tech centers share this, they actually give you like a monthly calendar of what you should post every day. Like what topics, what types of things should be posted. It's called a social media calendar of ideas of what you should post each day. Like our market center PC coach shares these things. But where you could actually build out your week's worth of advertising for your page, set it up on a Sunday, and it'll just run all week. So that's what this live post and schedule post allows you to do, is schedule things in advance so you're not dealing with it each day. So always good to go in here, work ahead, save yourself some time, instead of being in a reactionary mode. Oh, nuts, I need to post something today. Some people do that. That's okay too. But that's what we call a quick post onto your social page, your business page. No cost. Pretty cool, right? Did anybody go ahead and run one? Anybody just go post a quick post?
Just did one. It's gonna post in 1 minute, so I'll see how it works out.
Awesome. Great job. All right, now let's jump into paid ads. They work very similarly as far as the creation goes. However, where they surface and what you see and what you spend is what's different here, okay? So if we actually go to paid ads here, this is where you would create a lead generation ad. Usually, I'm going to tell you the best ads to run are listings. They get the best engagement. They have the highest level of click-throughs. Any type of like, hey, I'm running an event, they're great, they're good, but they don't lead generate as much. I'm not saying they're bad. There's just a different audience and a lower click-through rate. So depending on what you're trying to accomplish, sometimes just brand awareness is okay. There's no rhyme or reason there. On the upper right-hand side, you'll see payments. That's kind of where you have to put a credit card on file, just so you know. Okay, so you have to have a credit card on file. You won't see my numbers, but it does have to be on file in order to run an ad. All right, so make sure you cover that first. Then when you click create campaign, the difference between social ad, which is the free one, I'm sorry, the social post and then the social ad, which is the paid one. The paid one is the advertising. Okay, that's your pay-per-click. So you have to give it a name, and today we're just gonna call it test. And you guys can go ahead and build one too, and then you can save the draft. All right, we're gonna advertise a listing. And then at the bottom, say, where do you want to run the campaign? So remember, I told you could run it on Facebook, and if you have Instagram connected to your Facebook account, it'll see that. So here at the bottom is where you will see your Instagram. Hey, let's put it on Instagram too. Okay, it's the only place to do it. While I can do a quick direct post to Facebook business page, I cannot do a direct post, free post to Instagram at this point. While Instagram is owned by Facebook or Meta, it is still a different company, and the way that they do things are a little bit different. So there's some different circumstances around it. Once you click create campaign, go ahead and do that. My editor will open up just like it did on the quick post. Although this one's a little bit more intuitive and different in that I told it I was advertising a listing, right? So what's going to happen here is going to tell me to go find that listing. Now, if it's your listing, it should show up here. I don't happen to have any right now, so I'll change from my listing to all listings. Okay, and then I can type in a property address. Ted, do you have any active listings right now? You can give me an address. Oh, you disappeared on me real quick. Let's just type something in. Click search. All right, there's something over in Ashburn Road, because when I search by property address, I can search by listing agent or MLS number, but because I put Ashburn, Virginia, it doesn't search by city, it actually searches by property address. So it's just scroll down. Oh, these are all commercial, which makes sense.
I just did one. Success. It turns out great.
Oh, you did your Facebook post? Good job.
Yeah.
All right, I'm adding property here. Let's just grab this list. Mill Creek looks good. Now notice this is in Prospect, Oregon. So remember what I told you yesterday, our MLS picks up everything. So that's why you have to type in an address, and why I won't just see your listings if you don't have everything. But I'm going to go ahead and select this property. Okay, and what it's going to do, it's going to take the first picture from that MLS listing and make that as my headshot. My purple bubbles will shut because it's going to try to walk you through this the first time. Now, I can add additional listings, so don't panic that, hey, I don't like this picture or whatever that is, but check out how quickly that lead did generate. Remember, edit on the left, and on the right is what would surface. Now, under my drop down here, because I say, hey, this is what it looks like on the web feed. This is what it looked like on their cell phone. Here's what it looks like on Instagram, and here's what it looks like on Instagram story. So you can kind of get an eye of like, this is what it's going to look like. Now, the thing about Instagram or Facebook stories is the formatting. So the picture sizes are cropped differently. So you may or may not want to, you might want to run Instagram separately from Facebook. You can do that too. So just kind of giving you the heads up, but it's always good to look and see what's my display and how's it going to be presented. Now on the left-hand side, as I scroll down, first is the pictures there. Next, the copy comes in. So there's 250 characters that are allowed in this text box, but it pulls in the description for the property. Now remember, your listing description is probably more than 250 characters, so you're going to want to modify this for an ad, right? You don't want to be too wordy, so you're going to trunk this down. You're going to throw in some emojis, right? You like the fire emoji, right? You like a house emoji. No, you like the look emoji, right? You might type must see, markets on fire, yada, yada, yada. You put that in here, right? You put a little house icon in here. You might put the arrow, right? Maybe I'm putting it up or down, like wherever I want it to point. If I'm trying to say, hey, check this out, right? Whatever, just giving you some examples. And then what I always drop them at the end, and then I just copy them and move them and put them wherever I want in the text of the body, okay? Or you could click there and just put, hey, a little smiley face.
Hey, David, I'm sorry, real quick, I missed something. How did you get to the create campaign?
Under paid ads, on the right-hand side, it says create, top right-hand side, it says create campaign.
Yeah, I was looking, I don't see that on my.
Is it hidden behind my picture? and your Facebook page would have to be connected, and a credit card would have to be on file.
Oh, all right. I had to expand my desktop. I got it.
There you go. All right. So now as you're working down this page, right, you would clean up this character count, this contact here. But notice when I added those emojis, they automatically show up in the picture on the right. So the ad is editing in real time. So you can always preview. Okay. Now you've got a headline. Oh, what's my headline? Won't last. Right. You see it drops in right there. Then you have a chance for another description, and they give you some suggestions. You can shuffle through, use that suggestion, or you can retype something. But we try to help you. View photos and videos of this home.
Hey, David, right quick. So you just plugged in the address and then it pulls it automatically from MLS. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Cool.
Yeah, as long as it's active. Remember, coming soons don't show because they don't syndicate.
Okay.
So but it'll pull any active listing.
Got it.
Also, there's emojis down here, so I can add a couple emojis if I want to, right? And then I just save my editor. And again, so this is the ad that I'm going to run. Now, as I work down, I finish name, I finish text, there's media. Media is going to have a green checkbox in it, but I still want you to open that up because what happens is it's a checkbox because it has a photo. Now, on the quick post, I told you it was okay to just use one photo. On listings and advertising, I want you to do more. I want you to have like 5 photos, okay? So your question should be, well, how do we add more? And then I'll say, I'm glad you asked, right? So right under images, to the right of the first picture that's there, there's an add more button. Now, what's going to show now are all the listings that are attached to that listing that you selected from the MLS. So if it only has one listing in the MLS, one picture, then only one picture is going to surface. If it has 60 pictures, then you're going to have 60 pictures to choose from. But you can only add like 5 more. Okay. So then you go in here and I can choose some listings, choose from these photos, or I can add, like if I need to upload something from my desktop, I can do that. Or I can add a video. Most times you're just going to pick from the listing. Click on a picture you want to add. You have to add 1 picture at a time. I can't select 4. That's not at this time able to do that. I have to pick one at a time. And this just kind of says, how do you want this picture to format? This is why I told you in the beginning, you got to know, where is this going to go? Is this going on Facebook? Is it just going on all platforms? Because different platforms has different format. Stories are long boarded. Facebook are more square, or more stretched in landscape, right? So, and it tells you the best settings. Hey, this is best for stories. You know, this is best. Wide is good, right, for Facebook. Vertical is this. Square is for most placements. So you just kind of have to play with it a little bit. I usually keep it at square, and I typically run stories separate than these, just so that's how I run that. Now you'll notice that I added the picture here. So on my ad now, it's cascading. It'll cascade through because that's what the ad's going to look like. And I would go through and I would add multiple pictures. Okay. And I would max that out. And like I said, I think the max is 5. And the reason you want to do that is because Facebook is smarter than we are. Okay, so what Facebook is going to do is going to look at the performance metrics once you start running the ad. Okay, and by that, what I mean is this. It's going to know which photographs are performing better in your advertising. You don't have to go and look. Facebook is going to start running different pictures as the primary picture based off of its performance. So that's why it's better to have more pictures. They're better at it than we are, and they manage it better. So I let them do it. All right. You have to include your ownership statement, right, which is each independently owned and operated market center. We'll cover that. Now, once we go down, we hit save there for that toggle. Now you're going to configure your settings. Okay? Basically, it's going to say which page are you running through. This doesn't really matter too much. It's just accreditation, right? I'm running it through my personal page. Remember, or my real estate page. Remember, it is not going to show up on your page. It will not show up on your page. It will show up in your audience's page, okay? But you got to pick your page. And in what position, feed or story? Like I said, I like to run stories separately, so I run in a feed. Designation. This is really, really important. So if you're writing notes, write this down. On lead capture, do I want to use the Facebook lead generation form or a landing page? You want to use the Facebook lead capture form. Let me say that again. You want to use the Facebook lead capture form. They're better at it than you are. They're better at it than our landing pages allow us to be. Use the Facebook capture form. Now, below that, there's a button in the URL. Right? So this is what I do, and I recommend you. So I'm going to get this out of you. So I'm going to go to my website real quick. Right? You guys all know how to launch the website. We'll go to my website. Here's the address, 2155 Mill Creek. And I'm going to search for the listing that I'm advertising. I wonder if it went under contract. That's why it's not showing up. Quick drive. It's possible and under contract, because once it's under contract, it'll stop syndicating. But let me just grab a different listing for giggle's sake. Let's grab one near me. Let's just pretend that this property over here is the property. I'm going to grab this page from my website, which essentially is a landing page. It's a landing page on my website for a listing. Okay. Just going to grab that. And then on my ad, I'm going to paste that page. Now I paged HTTPS twice, so double check your settings here. What am I doing here? Okay. All right, there it is. Or choose a landing page. Remember Kyle showed you guys to create landing pages yesterday? You can add your own landing page. I recommend on listings, highly recommend this, that you drive them to your website. Does anybody know that why I would drive into a listing on my website versus a listing landing page? Does anybody know why I would do one over the other?
You capture more of them
You want
Why
that
would I
traffic to your
capture more?
website?
because it's being picked up through command.
Well, they're both being picked up from command, right? If my landing page is built through command, it's still command. But what's the difference with sending to a listing on my website versus sending to a listing that's a landing page, which essentially is a single page website?
More options. They can see all of the homes versus just one.
That's right. If I send them a landing page that's specific to this property and they don't like the property, they bounce. They go
Right.
somewhere else. If they're on my website and they don't like this property, they're already on a searchable website and they can look at other properties because that landing page is going to say, hey, would you like, or the website page is going to say, would you like to look at other properties in the area? So you're creating what's called stickiness. They stick around longer on your website than they do on a landing page, right? Landing pages have a time and a place, right? But I like driving them in advertising to my website, but the listing on the website, not the website homepage. So that's why when I went to the website, I went to the actual property. Does that make sense? Right. So that domain name that I grabbed wasn't just the domain name of my website. It was the domain name of that listing on my website. And then if they get here and they decide that they don't like it, right, they can look at other properties, right? You'll see right there's suggestions on your website for homes nearby. So they're going to do other things. And maybe they even create an account. Or maybe they look at to get pre, or maybe they ask you a question, or maybe they ask to schedule a tour. Right? All those things feed back to you inside of command. So that's why I do it that way. Okay. So now at the bottom here, it's going to tell me I have the option to use a custom settings, or I can use the default audience of 20 miles around that area. I like to use custom settings. Now in the beginning, you may choose to use a radius, and that's fine. There's two reasons why, a couple of reasons. Well, I'll give you the biggest two. So one, if I just use the radius, then that listing will show up in the people's feeds around that 20-mile radius. I can't go any lower than 15 miles. I can't go any larger than 50 miles. And I can't get specific to neighborhood because that becomes steering, and steering is illegal, right? So it will only work on a radius. But if I go to custom settings, I can get more specific than a radius, okay? It's still gonna be radius driven. Here's that target my database, which I told you does not work right now, but that's something that's coming, so ignore that. But you're gonna target a custom audience. Now, it's going to default to the city where the listing is. Well, that's fine, but you're gonna learn a little bit more tomorrow on referrals, but let's think about it like this. What if I knew, now this listing happens to be in Oregon, what if I knew that a lot of people are moving to Prospect, Oregon, right, from Falls Church? What if I knew that there was a job change in Falls Church? There we go. I can run the ad in any city I want across the United States. Does not have to be in the city to run the listing. So if I knew that a lot of people were moving from Falls Church, Virginia to Prospect, Oregon, and I have a house for sale in Prospect, Oregon, I can run the ad in Falls Church, Virginia. Not licensed in Falls Church, Virginia, but I can generate listings there, can't I? So I can run the ad wherever I want, which is very, very cool. Okay. Now maybe I want to run the ad in Facebook at Falls Church, then I can do a second ad around the local listing. You can run multiple ads too, that's fine. But I can only do one area per ad. I can change this to 15 miles. Remember, I told you 15 is as low as I can go, 15 is as high as you can go. Then here's the extra audience. So inside of Facebook, if you've been on there for a while, you know that you and others have told Facebook there are things that you are interested in. Okay. And some of those have to do with real estate. Not all of them, but some of them. So when you click on add interest, you should take some time just scrolling through here and highlighting for yourself what ones are real estate related, right? And I'll just give you a couple examples. DIY is real estate related. If I had a fixer-up property, right, DIY means do it yourself, is an interest of audience through Facebook that I might want to run this ad in front of. Does that make sense? If this was a luxury listing, I type in the word luxury. Luxury is variant depending on where you are. And people told Facebook that they're interested in luxury vehicles and luxury property. Maybe that's the audience that I want to make sure that this shows up in front of. If people told Facebook they're interested in Zillow, which I don't know why you would do, because everybody know that Zillow publicly admitted that their estimates are broken and therefore they're going bankrupt. All right, anyways, Zillow might be an audience that I want to tell somebody. So I get to select the audience based off of their Facebook interests through the ad. You see here. So include this ad in this area for people that have told Facebook they're interested in luxury property or luxury vehicles. That's the filter. I can narrow that audience a little bit more by saying, hey, oh, that's not turned on yet. All right, so this is going to go. So this is going to allow, there's an adding feature where they're going to allow me to add and narrow this from an or feature in the first box to an and feature in the second box. Maybe I wanted it to be luxury property and luxury vehicle, right? Then I would narrow my audience, which is not allowing me to do right now, by putting a second box here. There's something that, oh, there we go. Narrow audience, it turned on. I have luxury property, now I want luxury vehicle. So the difference here is luxury property and luxury vehicle versus the first box, which was either or. Does that make sense? All right. And the challenge there is if you get too specific, your audience, right, gets too narrow. So there's no way for me to tell you what's a right or wrong number here. You just have to play with these things a little bit and see how it performs when you're running your ads. Now, save that. At the bottom, last two boxes, lead settings. Okay. This ties back to smart plans. Do I want to tag, right? Do I want to tag this contact, or what do I want to tag this contact when they come in? So I have tags in my system already. Maybe I want to tag it that this came in through a Facebook campaign, right? If I do that, I can also tell it what smart plans do I want to launch the moment that that lead comes in. This is automatic configuration, right? So think about smart plans when we did that the other day. Different smart plans for different things. If I have a Facebook follow-up smart plan, which is in your library, and part of that follow-up is the moment that this lead comes in, make a phone call. What happens is this first step is just going to tell me to make a phone call because I have a new lead. And then the second step might be an email or a text that goes out that welcomes them. Hi, this is Dave Donaldson from Keller Williams. Thanks for clicking on our listing. I'm going to try to call you, but I thought I would hit you with a text first. Letting them know who you are, what's happening. This is integrating this whole system together. That's why we build upon each applet. Why we talk about contacts. That's why we talk about tags up front. That's why we talk about smart plans. And then we talk about campaigns because they're all woven together. Remember on day one, when you guys asked me the difference between a lead and a contact? You guys remember that? When they come in through a Facebook ad, it's a one-way conversation. It's a have not met. So they are stamped as a lead in your database. And then when you connect with them and you talk to them, okay, when you talk to them, then you would go in and change it from a lead to a contact. Now, the last thing is you save these triggers. Then what is your spend going to look like? And when do you want to start it? Give yourself time. A couple things to know here. I cannot get this to run instantaneously. Facebook takes 24 hours to look at your ad because Facebook has been sued a lot. So they have to analyze and look at your ad and make sure it's compliant. So you always have to budget time for yourself. And I can't give you right or wrong reasons as to why this happens, but sometimes they will reject an ad. You could go there and run the same ad and then it gets approved. I can't tell you why, okay? But all I can tell you is this. When they do reject them, you have to go back and relaunch it. But it takes 24 hours. So if I'm going to do an open house ad for this weekend, and I want it to start on Thursday to advertise my open house on Sunday, I might build the ad on Monday, tell it to launch on Thursday, but submit it to Facebook so that it goes through the approval process. But you need it a minimum 1 day. Next, it's going to ask you, how long are you running the ad for? If you're only going to run an ad for 1 day, save your money. If you're going to run it for less than 3 days, save your money. Facebook will tell you 10 days is the best bang for your buck. That's a little bit long. We don't always have that kind of time. 5 to 7 days is really where you need to be, right? So that's why I try to say, hey, if you're running it on Sunday, you start running it on ad on Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, then you're giving that 5 days lead time for the Facebook analytics to kind of get it out there and increase the level of engagement. Listings you can run for 10 days without any issue, right? Because it's a list. But something that's a terminable, like an open house, you want to stretch it out as long as you can before that ends.
David, I have a quick question. Can you just scroll up on the top of the screen? I'm trying to look at the steps for creating this campaign. And this is, what type of campaign was this? Because it's not a social post in order to save a listing.
It's a paid ad. It's a paid ad. It's a paid ad, and I told it that I was advertising a listing.
Got it. Okay.
Now that
Thank you.
you're advertising a listing, that's what that trigger happens, tells you to go search for a property.
Got it. Thank you.
Now, so you can pick the date, you can tell it how long you want it to run for, you can tell it how much you want to spend and how much you want to spend per channel, right? If I'm going to run it on Facebook and Instagram. And then it asks me, do I want to use automatic placements or do I want to distribute evenly? I use automatic placements because, again, Facebook is better. And what does that mean? Facebook's going to look at the ad, just like it did with the pictures, and it's going to tell me, where is it performing better? Is it performing better on Facebook or is it performing better on Instagram? And then it's going to spend more money on either platform based off of the performance or lead generation that's happening. So that's why I let it to use automatic placements. That's what I do. Okay. Then I click save and I can have a draft, or I can go ahead and publish the campaign. And that's it. That's how you create a Facebook ad. That's the difference between a post, quick post on my Facebook page, and an ad through my page that will go out in front of that audience. How's that digesting for all of you?
Excellent, David. I have a quick question. Previously, you could post something to your business page and you could share it to your personal page. And when they changed the way that works, I find that's much more challenging now. Do you know an easy way to do that?
you'd have to go to your business page and then try to share or repost that share. That's them just kind of narrowing their or increasing their controls a little bit. There's nothing we can do on our end. So you'd have to take like this post, and you used to be able to just kind of share it to my personal page, but you would have to kind of copy this text or recreate it and post it on your own personal page.
Yeah, they took away the share feature that used
Exactly.
to be.
Right. And that has to do with people bastardizing advertising to personal pages. Right. Marketing and can people ruin things for everybody. Right. When there's a good thing, they like to ruin it. But that's a Facebook thing there. That's outside of our control, unfortunately. So I'm just going to get out of here. I'm not going to save this draft, but I want to show you a couple of things of what happens when you do things. So when you run ads, right now, it's been a little while since I ran one, but you're going to see metrics, right? If I click on this, it'll tell me how long did it run for. It'll tell me how much I spent. It'll show me how many people clicked on it. It'll tell me the leads, how much my leads caught, who were the leads that came in from this ad. That's all on your display page. That all shows up right here, right? And all these people would be in my Facebook. So you get all that data. And remember, inside a command, it will also be stamped as a lead. And because I tagged them as Facebook, I could filter by Facebook lead. I could even get more micro and then tag those Facebook leads, Facebook from 2155 Willow. So I knew that these were the leads that came in specifically from that lead or from that advertising, right? Because you could tag them to that level for yourself. You can get as micro as you want to get in tracking that information. Now, the one last thing I wanted to show you today were emails. We're running a little bit long, but it's kind of, I'm realizing that it's getting harder and harder to do these classes in an hour. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me. So emails are a little bit different than Facebook. Okay, so email is directing a message to an audience, but it's not a typed email. It's like a newsletter type or a developed type of formatted email. And there are templates inside the system for you to take a look at of what you could use. In order to send them, you have to have an audience first. So under campaigns, I want you all to click on email. Okay, under email, and on the right-hand side, you will see lists. Create list if you don't have any. You'll see I've got a couple of lists in here already. Now let's just go. Then I want you to click create list. Okay. Now I can enter people's names and search for individual people, or I can filter by tag. Okay. Show me all of my Ashburn Village, or I don't think I have a lot in there. There we go. It's Ashburn. Ashburn Village contacts. Okay. Select all. Call this list Ashburn Village. Okay, and now I have a new list. Okay, so now I have a list of these 3 people that I can now send an email to that targeted audience, or I could send an email to this targeted audience. So you have to create an email block to create your targeted audience first. Okay, then above that, okay, create campaign. So we did a social post, which posts directly to our business page. We did a social ad, which is our paid advertising. This is an email campaign. Now, email campaigns are free to a degree. What does that mean? KW gives you 5,000 emails per month for free to send. If you're going to send above and beyond 5,000 emails per month, you have to pay to increase your subscription. Okay, and you can do that through your account. But most agents aren't doing that right now. Now, this will look familiar because now I'm creating a campaign again. Maybe I'm going to, this time I have a brand awareness. Maybe I'm going to do a buyer seminar. I don't know. I'm going to use my command email, right? You see that's default at the bottom, create campaign. Now, on the right-hand side, nothing showed up because I haven't picked anything yet. Okay, so I can select a design. And what it's going to see are my KW templates or my templates. If I created something previously, I'll see it there. Or I can just use the KWRI template. Right? So these email templates, there are some defaults in here. Right. This just is an example of one that I had previously built where I did a command your database class. So you'll see that all these boxes are in here are editable. Let me just go back to one from scratch. No, create list, create campaign, email. Event, create, select the design, and maybe I want to use one of the KWRI templates, and maybe I wanted to use one of these says invite on it. That's weird. There used to be an invite one. I don't know what happened to it. Anyways, let's just choose this tax day one. So there's default information in there. Okay. Give it a name. My screen is just slow on me. Let me reload that real quick. There we go. Now, on the left-hand side, you're going to see some default contact information, default verbiage and text, and you can edit all this by hovering over those boxes, right? You'll see that you can either replace an image, change an image, click on the text, hit the pencil to edit the text, which shows up on the right-hand side. You've got your editors that you're all used to: bold, indents, italicize, change font size, center, indent, create hyperlinks, right? Say that. Always hit the word done. I find out a lot of people, I'm not a fan of the way this, typically when you hit save, you think it would be good. Actually, to come back here, you need to hit done, right? Which will brings you back to your editor. Done is your keyword. Now I can also add more information. So I say, hey, you know what? I want to include a video that I created. So I can come over here to the right-hand side. These are widgets, and I can include more widgets. Let's go say I want to add a video. So I just drag this over. Let's go ahead and drop the video button in here. See that it's looking for a video. I click on it. I hit the editing pencil. And then it would ask me for a video. So I would have to go to my YouTube channel. Just go to one real quick. 12. Let's just say I was going to include one of these videos here. Grab that link. Come back to the campaign, paste that video URL in there, right? And then I would also have to add a thumbnail. So it's going to look for something on your desktop. To add in an image. Okay, click done. Okay, now what's going to happen here is going to take some minute to refresh, but this image, what would happen when the email goes out, it's going to be clickable. That image will be in the background. And I forgot to hit save, so I just screwed up what I was doing. You kind of get my point. The email is not embedded in, it won't open up in the email. What will happen is when they click the play email, it actually will open up that YouTube page. So it's a click through, not an embedded type of flash type of HTML iframe type of situation that some of you might be familiar with. It's going to redirect them to go watch that video. But it's going to show up in a nice format. It's clickable. It's easy to use. I just forgot to hit save. Sorry about that. And then it'll go. So like if this was an example of the email that I sent, once it's been sent, I'll get statistics. So it'll say, hey, here's how many people were on that list that you sent it to. Here's how many people opened it. Here's how many people clicked on it, right? And then when I click for more details, they're sent that email. I can even go in with more information, say, okay, here's everybody it went to. You know, here's the 44 people that didn't open the email. Here's the 7 people that it didn't send to that were on my list. And here's why. Either it was blocked or undeliverable, which means it was the email address was wrong, or the email address receiver blocked my email. So you get this information through these email lists to know how well you're performing and what's happening, right? So I need to go back in here in some of these and say, hey, why was this blocked? I know why Leland's was blocked is because I actually had his name spelled wrong. So I have to fix his email address. And there's another Leland Johnson that blocked me because it was the wrong Leland Johnson. So that's some of the reporting metrics that you get on the back end when you're sending an email campaign. So something what I recommend is that you guys kind of test this too. You have a personal audience. If you're going to do like a buyer seminar, if you want to advertise a listing or whatever that is, you could send that out to an email block. Or if you want to run an advertiser or an open house, then you can do a Facebook ad campaign. These are all just different ways to leverage the system and make it easier for you. It's a little bit more dynamic. It takes a little bit more time, and it's hard to kind of ram everything through in our 1 hour time block to do this. But it's like anything else. Go in there, play around with it. Always remember that answers.kw.com is your friend when you spell it correctly. And you can look at fact pages or how-tos and everything that we just talked about. Configure a Facebook ad. This steps through how to adding a listing and running a Facebook ad. Basically everything that we just did. Remember, answers.kw.com is your Google, is your friend, if you don't want to go back through the video. But throwing yourself in there and playing with the things is your best way to go about it.
David,
so
did you? Sorry, I missed one of the classes. Did you cover Twilio?
Yeah, we did that in Smart Plans.
Okay, yeah, I missed part of that. Thanks.
The only thing to really in Twilio that you need to do is you need to create an account. And then it allows you to send text messages through the system.
Okay, well, if you have 1 minute, I have one question on that.
Let me come back to that and see if anybody has any questions around the Facebook stuff first.
Thanks.
Who's got questions around Facebook posts, Facebook lead generation, or email campaigns?
Yeah, I have a question. So when I go to try to connect my business Facebook, it continues to connect me to my personal one.
It'll connect your personal first, but when you go to run the ad, it'll see your business page.
Okay, so it's showing as what's connected is my personal.
That's
but
correct.
Then okay.
Yeah, so it has to connect to your personal, although you're not going to post anything directly to your personal, but through your personal, it sees your business page. And then when you go to run an ad, you'll be able to select your business page.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Who else has a question on that? All right, so Jeff, I'll bounce to your Twilio question then. You're muted.
Sorry, thanks. I've sent out, I did a test Twilio and just kind of announced, hey, this is from me, because, people get those random texts, and I wanted people to know what it was. Some people replied back, stop. I think you had mentioned earlier that Command actually won't, or Twilio won't send them another text message, but you have to go through each individual contact to figure out who those people were. It doesn't give you like a list to see who opted out.
At this point, that's correct.
But that's being worked on.
Yeah, just like I just showed you for the email side of things, because Twilio is outside of our ecosystem, we're working with them to develop and capture that information.
Okay, and then my other question is there a way to have, because I get these and I'm always leery of like clicking on anything, but I want to send out like links to my event and things. Is there a way to have like a signature where it says Jeff Pennington is inviting you, like, and that always adds, or Jeff Pennington is like the first thing that goes out in every text I send, so it knows, so people can say, oh, that's from Jeff, not like,
You have to, so when you, if you're, so it goes one of two ways, right? If you're using a smart plan to send those texts, just make sure that as you type out the smart plan, that's what you lead off your text message with.
okay.
Like,
And if I'm,
you have to type that in.
so if I'm, anything I'm sending, when I go to Twilio, I can just go in and type like whatever I want at the beginning so they know where it came from.
Correct. And that's what I do recommend. And especially in a smart plan situation, just so you guys know what's happening here and what Jeff is referencing, because of the TCPA, okay, and because we're using a third-party integration for this, for these automatic send text messages, and because that marketers ruin everything, there's real serious lawsuits and fines that are happening heavily around the country. So we're putting protection measures that are a pain in the butt in place, but necessary. So what happens is the first time you send a text, your message will go out, whatever it was. And instantly at the same time in that, it will offer them the ability to unsubscribe. So now when you send them a text message, and unless you say, hi, this is David Donaldson with KWRI following up with you on your inquiry or whatever it is, they won't know it's you, right? Because it's not coming from your phone number that they might have in their phone. It's coming from your Twilio number, which they don't know yet. So you need to announce yourself in that email, like, hi, this is Dave. This is my texting service that I use for work. Just so you know, I'll be communicating with you from there. You're going to see the ability to unsubscribe from below if necessary, right? More times than not, if you tell them it's you, they probably won't if they know who you are. If you're not in a relationship with them, they're still going to unsubscribe. Don't take it personal. It is what it is. We're working on a way to kind of filter that a little bit better so you can say, hey, here's all the people that unsubscribed. Right now, we don't have that capability. It would only be on their contact record that they unsubscribed. And you would not be able to text them from the system again because you're now blocked. And we don't want you to get in trouble. That's kind of what Jeff was referencing there. Again, as always, for further clarification, look up Twilio in answers, and or as you guys regroup and meet with your market tech trainers and you have more, the more you start to utilize these things, you're going to have more questions, right? Those are important. Jeff, did I give you some clarity on Twilio there?
It did. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah, that TCPA is a really big, big deal. We don't want anybody ended up getting fined. So it's 11:15, and it's about the time we've been ending each day. Tomorrow's our last day. Tomorrow's day 8. Can you believe that? It's been 2 weeks already. So tomorrow we're going to go through the referral platform, right? Because I told you that we are the largest referral company in the world. And you're going to learn all about how to connect with fellow agents around the country that you could send referrals to, because you know people that live everywhere, not just in your local municipality, and you could get a referral because of that. So we're going to learn all about that tomorrow and how to send those out.
It's tomorrow from 10 to 11 because it's Veterans Day or whatever, I think, right?
Yeah, believe it or not, tomorrow is actually, it is Veterans Day. So I salute all of you fellow servicemen and women and spouses and significant others that have been in service. I thank you. It is a KW holiday, so a lot of the offices are closed. However, I will be training because I want you guys to have this training.
Yeah. One quick kind of stupid question. So all these, obviously with all these trainings, it's fantastic. It's just a lot of information. These are uploaded onto YouTube, if I'm not mistaken.
They are. Ted, would you throw the link into the channel, please? YouTube channel. Ted's going to post it into chat.
Okay.
Click on that. There's that playlist. What we do is we put a playlist up for each month, and you can see all the recordings from that month. So you'll see a September series, an October series, and now a November series of everything that we did this month.
Okay.
And you can go back and watch those. I usually need about a day. So I'm usually about a day or so behind for the most recent training.
Got it.
Because I got to download it from Zoom. I got to
Yeah.
edit out music sometimes because I get flagged for using music without a license.
Sure.
Don't want that to happen. So, but yeah, so we usually go so behind, but everything else should be loaded at this point. And if you just subscribe to that channel, every time I load a new training, you'll get an email notification that, hey, there's a new training that's been posted.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I will see you all tomorrow for one last class. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, guys.